let's talk a bit more about symptoms. So we said before, we know about the hot flushes, we talked about vaginal dryness, but it is so much more complex, isn't it, Heather? Like, what other things are there that you can normally tick off the list for menopause?
So as Louise said, estrogen has an effect throughout the body. So there are receptors for this hormone all over the body. And so the lack of estrogen can have a whole range of consequences. And what you mentioned was that we know about flushes. So often I do a talk and I'll say to people, what's the first thing springs into your mind when I say the word menopause? And it's always flushes and sweats, or it might be bad mood, but mostly it's flushes and sweats. And most people are prepared for that. And they can be horrible, but you don't know how horrible until you have them. And you're quite right that trying to explain to people that are not experiencing it, it's really difficult because, well, what's the big deal? But actually it can be a really big deal. But absolutely what people are not prepared for are the mood changes, and that can be absolutely incapacitating, along with sleep disturbance. So we all know if you have a really bad night and don't sleep well, you really don't cope so well the next day. So they are the symptoms that I think have a huge impact and are less known about and women are less prepared for. We've heard about joint aches as well, and that's because there's estrogen receptors in the muscles, in the actual joint itself, in the ligaments, and so the lack of estrogen can cause some type of inflammation and problems with joint aches. And again, that can be really bad. And why would you associate joints with hormones? And often what we find is people have had symptoms for a while that have crept up on them, but not recognized what it is. And so it becomes, sometimes they can be referred to the wrong place. And I've had examples of ladies that have been referred to see a heart specialist because they've had palpitations, or a rheumatologist because of joint aches, or a neurologist because of headaches. And it's what we need all health professionals is just to recognize the multitude of ways the lack of estrogen can affect us.
Yeah, I have to say, I went away last year for my birthday, and I partially dislocated my kneecap. And I was like, what is going on? I literally got off the sofa to make a sandwich. I weren't running, I weren't doing anything spectacular, but it just popped out a bit. And the year prior, I'd actually broken 3 toes. Just from walking into things, standing like bumping your toes. And it was only actually when I'd spoken to you, Louise, and my oncology team, and they were like, well, this can be bone density issues, this can be issues around the joints. And it was all connected down to my Zoladex that I was on. So, if you are experiencing symptoms that you're like, this is a bit abnormal, like if you are in menopause, double check, because they can always be related. And if they are related, then hopefully they could be treated, I'm guessing.